As the first humans to ever venture out this far into the frontier.
Too fast! Sensitive poison damage.
Get out!
I thought we were both goners.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show. I'm Operation DX, and welcome to episode 29 of my Planet Explorers version 0.72 Let's Play. During the previous episode, we finished up building the enhancement module, which allows us to upgrade the durability of our armor and upgrade the damage of our weapon systems and all of that good stuff. And during this episode, I want to go ahead and get the repair unit built. And that's actually what I'm working on right now. But guess what? I'm probably not going to have enough plastic, so I'm going to have to go out again and get some more. Pretty standard. This has actually happened pretty much during every episode we've been working on our colony, but this is going to be another colony-heavy episode where I'm going to try to build a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, I want to get the repair unit done in this episode. I want to go ahead and enhance my main colony building by getting it, I don't know, putting a roof on it for now. Maybe I'll do some other stuff later. And then I'd like to actually build the barracks, or building that where the colonists are going to live when they work at this colony here. So instead of using my damaged air vehicle, I decided to go ahead and use the slick little maneuver that you can pull off with the jetpack and glider. So you just shoot yourself up in the air and just deploy your glider, and you can make little jumps to different areas. And I love that little tactic. It's kind of a cool thing that you can do, especially if you don't have a vehicle to get around with. That is an easy way to get around. You can actually get around all the way around the map pretty quickly with that method, but it is a little bit faster to use the air vehicle. But because we ended up fighting a whole bunch of stuff in the last time, and I don't want to potentially lose my air vehicle and have to rebuild it, we'll just do this for now. So we'll just glide here and then glide back, and of course, low on plastic. Oh, yeah, I've really got to look into if any of the plants give you resin, because that would be absolutely huge. I'd probably plant 1 million of them so that I wouldn't have to keep doing this over and over and over again. Okay, that should be all the stuff we need. Fortunately, we don't need the high-end processor, like the gigahertz processor, to build the repair station. So up we go again with a jetpack and deploying our hang glider, or glider. It's not really a hang glider, it's just a glider pack. It's cool, man. Slick. I love these parts of the game. I love these things. Well, now I need to just go ahead and build another addition here to our growing centralized colony building. This time around, I'm actually going to go ahead and just use the marble, because I have a ton of it, and we won't run into those problems that we were running into in the earlier episodes where I didn't have enough. So when I draw this big box, it will in fact complete, because I have a metric crap ton of this stuff. So there we go, no problem. And then I don't know if I'm going to build a little cubby hole for it like I did with the enhancement module. Maybe I'll just stick it on the back of the enhancement module here and just add a little addition. I also like, if you notice there, you couldn't really see it very good, but when I brought it out, it had a little robotic arm and it was doing things. I love when these kind of things are animated. The stuff we placed down so far really doesn't have much animation to it besides the turrets, but they don't really deploy unless there are dangerous creatures around. And of course, it figures that once I deploy those turrets, no more danger has come to my colony. Rather funny stuff there, though. But there is the colony repair station. I also said how a couple episodes back I didn't power up the power station. Technically that's true, because I didn't power it up, but actually when you first deploy it, it is powered up. We can see that the power station is in fact activated by these little electric lines we're seeing. That's kind of like the wireless electricity that connects all the different things. So every building we place down needs to be within the range of this little wireless electricity, otherwise these things would not be able to power up and we wouldn't be able to use them properly. Okay, so I think this is I just need to build a little extension off this thing, and it's kind of cool. It works. And then I'll just put 2 little holes, and I love to use glass. I like to put glass into everything. It's one of the things I haven't really done too much with our main colony building. I like to put windows and stuff in there, and I like to kind of detail it out a little bit more. But during this episode, what I'm going to go ahead and do after I finish this little cubby hole thing up here is I'm going to put a roof on the top of our colony, and if there's enough time, this is probably going to be another long episode, maybe 20 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and build the barracks structure like I said earlier, so hopefully I can get those 2 things done. I actually really like the glass in this game. It's got kind of like these little hex square design inside of the glass, and it looks like it's like really tough, you know, you couldn't shoot it out if you were shooting bullets at it or whatever. I like it. It looks neat. And of course, typical of my fashion stuff I talk about, I would definitely like a little more variety there. Maybe a couple other different types of glass. Maybe like that tight brick basement glass, and like just like glass panes or whatever, or just glass, like thin glass blocks or something. That would also be kind of cool. But what's in the game so far is kind of cool. I like everything's working pretty good there, especially with the lighting and lighting coming through at night and stuff. It all works. And it looks quite good. So before I get started on my roof here, I'm going to go ahead and put my vehicle into the repair yard so we can get that going. And we've got a little bit of time left there from the previous episode where we put our blaster in the enhancement station. So that's still going on. It takes, again, 10 minutes for that to finish up. So now it's time to make this box look a little bit better than just a box. I want to put a roof on this thing so it actually looks like some kind of building. And again, I think I'm just going to go with the brick. I think the brick looks fine. That'll work for the roof, I guess. I guess I could do like a little filler with wood in certain parts to add some detail or whatever, but for now we're still kind of like in the basic structure. It's not like I've spent a very large portion of time kind of thinking this out, working it out kind of thing. Everything I've done in here we've watched real time, and I'm pretty much doing this on the fly. I have no predetermined, defined idea of what this is going to look like, and that's actually for me kind of the fun, because you kind of get these little accidents, you know. Sometimes they're happy accidents, sometimes they're like, oh god, what I just do, this looks like complete garbage, I have to start over. So it's just kind of fun to do this kind of thing. It's like molding clay, you know, you just kind of shape it, and you know, you eventually get something you like, and you keep working at it, kind of thing. That's what I like to do. But again, I don't know if I'm going to do any off-camera kind of molding with this colony kind of thing. I may, I don't know. But I do like when I'm working on something too, like something that I'm not doing during this Let's Play, is I do kind of just like sit there and like kind of look at it for a while and think about it kind of thing. And that's something I can't really do while we're doing things like real time here, because that's kind of unacceptable for a Let's Play kind of thing. But yeah, I like to ponder a lot. That's kind of how I do. I mean, even with when I'm working on my music and stuff, I like to sit there and ponder and think, and you know, and finally like something comes to me, and then I start working on it and like making the idea into something. I love creative stuff. Like that's definitely my thing for sure. However, when I am sitting there thinking about things, sometimes it can turn into this like session of procrastination where nothing gets done, and that actually ends up being a bad thing. So it's not necessarily a bad thing being forced to kind of just go with things on the fly, because at least something gets done out of it. Oh, and we're running into another one of the situations where I'm kind of burying myself in the design here, so it got all dark here, and we're in that awkward lighting again. So I'm going to have to unbury myself. I think I'm like in the middle of the roof there, so I'm probably going to have to cut some of that out. I probably should do that sooner than later before I bury myself too deep and have to undo too much stuff here. So I better figure out where I'm at. I wasn't really expecting that. I'm gonna keep going here, even though it's kind of tough to make out the details of what I'm doing, because it's a little too dark. It's dark for me. I can't really see what's going on. Of course, those power lines, those wireless power lines, are really helping, because at least I can kind of see what's going on there. Now, originally I had thought maybe I was going to make this a 2-story building kind of thing, but I'm actually more. I actually like the idea of actually turning this into a one-story kind of thing with somewhat interesting looking roof. It's not really that interesting looking, but with some work, it could become something interesting, I guess. However, with the barracks building, or the house I'm going to build for the colonists, I definitely want to make that a two-story building. And I think that would add a nice dynamic if you're on the second floor and you're kind of looking down at the main colony hub. That'd be kind of cool. It's always good to get some interesting looking angles, especially when you got all the lights and stuff all plugged in, and you're just kind of taking a second to look back at your work, and you just want to set it up to make it look somewhat cool when you actually get to those points. Something interesting I could do, I guess, with this roof is make it a air vehicle landing pad, and I could do like little landing pad logo kind of things on each different roof here, and then maybe make a stairway up there. That'd be kind of cool. Make it just kind of like a fueling station, or like a station for my air vehicles to land. I think that'd be kind of neat, but maybe for later, so I can just kind of leave this flat up top here. That might be maybe a choice now. I think right now I want to go over and start working on the place where the colonists are actually going to sleep and live. And the idea here, I guess, is to have multiple different houses or house structures where we could fill in the colonists. But this is something we can't really get too elaborate on. Unfortunately, I can actually build the structures and have it all here, but there's really not a lot of colonists we can send here to actually live and work in this colony, unfortunately. But we can kind of imagine what it would be like, or we can build a couple of structures here to kind of get an idea of what a fully realized colony may look like. So because I want the housing structure essentially right next to the garden, at least the main housing structure next to the garden, I'm going to use the garden as a starting point for the base of my area here. So I'm building it up just a couple of blocks so that I can get myself a nice little platform here to actually place the house down. I like placing these flat platforms too, because I can, later kind of detail it out, define it. Maybe if I want to make little walkways or whatever, I can kind of change it up and change the textures and stuff. Although, I don't know if I want to use brick for this, but I guess it'll be fine for now. I probably should use kind of the marble, because that's what I was going with on the other side. But for now, I guess I'll just use the brick. Maybe I could use the marble as little walkways and stuff. I don't know. Little details, just like to be creative. Now, I gotta chop that tree down and get that the plant out of there, just so I can extend this platform, because I don't want that stuff sticking through here, because that's essentially what it would do. And I think this is plenty of room. I don't want to make it super huge. I want to make it somewhat of a reasonable size. And then, very similar to how I built the first building, that's going to kind of draw out the base structure of what I want the floor plan to look like. Again, this is not really pre-planned. I'm just kind of winging this. But one thing I don't like to do is I don't just like to have like a simple, like just square box or rectangle for a house. I like to have it just have all kinds of interesting angles and that sort of thing. I mean, I'd even like to have curved angles and that sort of thing. And you could essentially do that with some of the parts. But for now, we're going to make it somewhat boxy, but we're just going to give it somewhat of a odd shape that isn't exactly symmetrical. I don't have like a thing where I have to be super anal about it, where it has to be symmetrical on all sides and that sort of thing. Sometimes when you use the tool for mirroring and things, you get things that look just a little too, plain and that sort of thing. So here we have something that it has a different shape, it's not just a straight up box. It's a good thing now, too, we have a good amount of these resources, so I can actually build this really rapidly, unlike when I was building the colony building and everything wasn't working properly, because we have a bunch of these resources. I can just quickly slap this down and build these walls within, about 10 seconds, 20 seconds or so. And that's exactly what I want to do. All in all, not too bad. I think time-wise, we're actually making decent time as far as efficiency during this episode. Got the repair unit down, got the roof built on that other building, and then we're starting on this building. I may even be able to get the full kind of basic structure outline of what this building is going to look like, and then possibly even start punching holes in the building for where the windows and doors and stuff are going to go. because now that, like I said, now that I have like enough of this resource in here, I can just build these walls really quickly. This actually would have been more ideal to show early on, but then, you know, again, it kind of gives you an idea of why you need a good amount of these resources in your inventory, because if you don't, it's just going to be a exercise in frustration when you do try to build these things. And again, I love being able to detach the camera from our character and move it around like this. It just makes things so much better. So easy. You can also see from this perspective that our garden is starting to make some good progress. It hasn't reached that phase 2 I was talking about earlier, where you have to apply a second thing of water and some pesticides. It actually is still on the first phase, but it's growing pretty quickly. The things I did plant there are definitely critical. We'll want to grab those for stuff we have to do later. So this, actually building this, we might want to go ahead and maybe break off and do a little bit more story before we say continue building the colony. I don't know. That may be something I want to do. And the reason I essentially say that is because even though we are, you know, it's fun and being creative and I'm building stuff here, there isn't actually a lot more to do at the colony now. So once I start hiring people, I mean, we've already got the enhancement module, we got the repair module, we got our power module, everything's pretty much up there. I don't have the colony thing, which I want to stick in this building, of course. And then we could essentially start hiring people and bringing them in to kind of see what that looks like, but there's not a lot more to it in this current build of the game. But anyway, something I really like to do when I'm building houses in these kind of games is, you know, I don't like to fill the top part of the building to exactly the way the bottom part is. That way I can put little balconies on the top here, and I can fence it in, and like if there were furniture or like that kind of thing, you could stick there and it'd be like an area where you could like go up there and chill and look out at stuff, and you have that little kind of fenced off kind of thing. I like to do that when I'm building these kind of buildings. This inevitably makes me think of building houses in The Sims, especially The Sims 3, because you can do a lot of really, you know, cool dynamic things with your house, and of course that's more focused towards that kind of thing. So of course you can make some more interesting looking houses with all the cool tools, but that's something I really like to do in The Sims outside of some of the other things. I mean, that game is so massive at this point, you can really kind of do a lot of really kind of cool things. It's really kind of cool to kind of play around with the social structure in that game too. I'm really looking forward to The Sims 4, even though I'm kind of like an anti-EA person. I can't help it. I've always been a huge fan of The Sims, so when that game hits, you probably can expect to see some Sims 4 stuff on this channel. You didn't see any Sims 3 on this channel because that predated my YouTube days. I'm fairly new to the scene as far as the YouTube thing, so but I probably would have totally done like a full Let's Play and geeked out over that one too. Unfortunately, some of the people that asked me to do that, it's just like the game came out several years ago, and it's like, I don't know if I want to do a thing on that. The game's already, you know, had its cycle, it's run its thing, and there's already a million people who have already done their YouTube videos on The Sims and stuff, but nonetheless. Okay, so I've got the basic structure of this out here, and I'm going to go ahead and start cutting holes here for the doors and windows and stuff. I certainly do not have all the materials I need to build all the things I want to get this thing up and running here, especially for the windows and stuff. I don't have enough sand to build all the glass panels, but I can still cut the holes out for now and kind of make a decision of what I want to do moving forward here. But I think essentially during the next episode we will probably continue into the story, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'm thinking about doing that just because of the gardening thing and because there's not a lot left to do here. And then maybe to wrap things up for the Let's Play, I'll show some of the final colony stuff where we get people working in here and the benefit of the garden and all that. And sorry guys, it is kind of actually hard to see what I'm doing there. I know because it's starting to get dark again. We've actually spent a large portion of time here working on all this stuff, but again, I feel like we got a good, decent amount of stuff done during this episode. Anyway, that's going to kind of wrap things up for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great day and take care.